Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New coming at you this Monday morning, like we usually do. And first and foremost, as always, just want to send out positive vibes to everyone out there who may be listening this morning, and hope that everybody has a great day and a wonderful week. So now that that's out the way, let's get it in. As we all know, the Los Angeles Lakers had a game yesterday against the Phoenix Suns. And as I previously stated, I want to say Thursday or Friday on the upcoming games, I pretty much said what was going to happen with the Portland game, that the Lakers could keep it close. But the backcourt of Damian Lillard would be too much for the Lakers as they were down Drummond and, of course, LeBron James, and didn't have any primary ball handlers, and that Portland would match up favorable against the Lakers without the LeBron James, of course, and they still kept that game close. But, of course, the Lakers lost, and then, of course, the internet went crazy. Laker Nation, everybody else, oh, my God, it's over with. We're in the play-in tournament. Oh, it's a done dollar. I mean, and, of course, I came on yesterday morning and told everybody, calm down. Not only do the Lakers still have a chance to avoid the play-in game because Portland's last three opponents are Utah, Phoenix, and Denver. They could very easily go 0-3 on all three of those games. So I said the Lakers' last opponents were who? New Orleans, Houston, Indiana. So they just had to, maybe beat Phoenix. And I said, what did I say yesterday? I said that they were more than capable of doing so because the matchup was in their favor. And I said, as long as Coach Vogel can actually do his matchups right. And thankfully, and I won't say thankfully, but Kuzma was out yesterday due to back spasms. And as soon as I saw that Kuzma was going to be out, I knew it was going to bode well for the Los Angeles Lakers. And that's no knock against Kuzma, but it's a knock against Vogel in his rotation. Sometimes he just doesn't know how to rotate. So actually, and I know as much as I give him Wesley Matthews hell, at this point, I mean, I would take the veteran Wesley Matthews over Kyle Kuzma. Hold on, everybody. I know I called him trash. I know his shot was off. But one thing that he has consistently brought to the table all season long is his defense. He hangs his hat on the defensive end of the floor. He's always clogging up passing lanes, getting steals, getting knockaways, getting strips, taking charges, doing what he has to do on the defensive end. And if he can ever get hot, he is a top 20 all-time three-point shooter. So if he can ever regain his confidence, which it seems like he has, start to get better, because some of his shots earlier this season was not even hitting the rim, just all on the backboard. But I thought it would be a good thing with Kuzma being out, because that would shorten that rotation and actually give Marc Gasol a lot more minutes. And as you all can see, and I know everybody been calling me crazy, but what have I been saying? I've been saying it all season long. Everybody want to knock Marc because he averaging 4 or 5 points a game. His job isn't to score. His job is to facilitate and open it up for others. And last night, he got a couple of hockey assists. The people don't count that, but his extra pass leads to another extra pass that is creating floor spacing. It's creating floor spacing for them. And then size-wise, Montrezl Harrell just gives up too much size when he's playing center. He gives up far too much size when he's playing center. And as a result, if you go back and look at the stat sheet, and if you paid attention to the game, you could tell without even having to look at the stat sheet, Marc Gasol was plus 10 for the game. Marc Gasol, and we're going to get into how great AD played in a minute. Don't worry about that. But Marc Gasol was a plus 10 for the game. Montrezl Harrell was a minus 9 for the game. And they did finally put Montrezl Harrell and Marc Gasol together in the rotation, because he really had no choice being out Kuzma. So that worked out pretty well. I won't say that it went really good, because they still have to learn each other. I know Marc found Montrezl for a couple of good down low looks to get him in his sweet spot. And that's one thing that Marc Gasol is good at, is feeding the ball down into the post, because he was getting the ball to Anthony Davis in his sweet spot a lot of times. And the Marc Gasol Anthony Davis combination is like a plus 12 or plus 13 for the season. whereas the Andre Drummond, Anthony Davis is maybe like a +1 for the season, if I'm not mistaken. I had to go back and look that up, but the Marc Gasol AD combination has been a much better combination. But one thing that I noticed was with Marc Gasol and Montrezl Harrell playing together, when they were rotating back, especially on a fast break, when they were in transition defense, trying to get back on the defensive end, Montrez automatically went down to the paint, whereas Marc had already rotated to cover up the paint in the fast break. And it was Montrez's job at that point to go out and guard any wing defender. But that's something he's not used to doing. As a result, it led to a wide open 3 on a fast break from the corner, where Montrez then rotate out and looked like him and Marc had some words about the breakdown in communication. I think Marc was trying to let him know, if I clog the middle and take away the paint, it's on the next person down to get out and get on the wing defender to cover up the 3-point line. Because if he was to rotate out to the 3-point line and wait for Trez to come down and get the paint, by that time you're going to give up an easy dunk or an easy layup. So there was some confusion there that led to an instant timeout by Frank Vogel. And then as a result, he pulled them out of the game. And then, as you guys can see, when he went to the lineup with strictly Montrezl Harrell as the center, without, I think AD was sitting at the time, and they kind of went with a smaller lineup, and there was no Marc Gasol. They actually went. That's when Phoenix started to get back into the game, because the Lakers were up by 20, but that's when they started to make their push. And then that's when I started to worry a little bit, because I said, uh-oh, what are the rotations back? Because he has Harrell in now, so he's going to come back with AD. So for a moment, when AD and Marc was in the game, everything was fine and they could maintain the lead. But then when he brought Marc out and moved AD over to center in like the 7 or 8 minute mark, and it was only him, I was like, uh-oh, this is good that AD is the center. But then, of course, on the next ball stoppage, he moved AD over to the 4 spot and brought in Andre Drummond. And no knock against Andre Drummond, but him and AD haven't fully found their chemistry yet. And then that's what I could see, that they were actually starting to put a dent into that lead and cutting that lead down just a little bit again. And they cut it down to like 9 or 8. And I was like, uh-oh, now you're talking about 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. Is this how he is he going to finish the game like this? And fortunately, Frank Vogel had the wherewithal to actually insert Marc Gasol as the center to finish out the game, which I could not believe it, but he actually did. But at this point, it's all about winning. And if you up against a team like that for most of the game, and just to give it away due to bad coaching and not being able to make adjustments within the game, then that would be terrible to fall on Frank Vogel. So he had the wits finally to put Marc Gasol in to finish. And what do you know? The Lakers were able to close out the game. And it wasn't really due, I'm not saying to Marc Gasol, because it was really Anthony Davis who played great and made sure. And also, let me please point out the great play of Caruso. Caruso played really well last night. For him to be inserted into the starting lineup like that, that's only going to make him better. So when LeBron James does get back and Dennis Schroeder does get back, just think about him coming off the bench going against the team's second unit after he's been going against first units now for the past few games. It's really going to make him play a lot better. So hopefully Frank Vogel is starting to figure it out just a little bit better, and that Marc Gasol has proved his worth, because that's what they initially brought Marc Gasol in here for, as the starting center, to be able to spread the floor with the LeBron James, with his high IQ, to where he can actually set screens and deliver the ball on backdoor cuts and pass the ball around the key. Because on a couple of those hockey assist plays that he made, he saw the double team come on AD when it was kicked back out to him. He didn't attempt not one 3-pointer, because he only takes smart 3-pointers. So he'll take the wide open 3-pointer, but as they closing out, he kicked the ball around the key, and then they made the extra pass. And then, of course, Phoenix was short on the extra pass with their rotation, and that led to a wide open 3 by KCP to kind of push the game back out of reach for Phoenix again. So with all this being said, everybody who's worried about the Lakers, I hope this game, see, just like they beat Denver the other day, without LeBron and without Schroeder, then they turn back around and do this. So you can see that Anthony Davis is ready. But it is all about matchups. So at the end of the day, I'm not concerned about the Lakers. You think even if they do, even if, let's say Portland wins the next 3 games, or the next 4 games, then, you know, do you think that the Lakers are worried that they have to be 7? Of course, they would like the additional time off to let LeBron James rest his ankle and have even more time off. But at the end of the day, if they got to face a Golden State, think about it. They beat Golden State, and then that one game they in at the 7th seed. And I guarantee you, Phoenix and Utah, they're going to be going against Portland. Hey, Portland might just weird those guys because they might be trying to lose. They might sit some players to avoid the Lakers in the first round, because I don't think the Phoenix Suns, especially after yesterday, want any parts of the Los Angeles Lakers come playoff time. Because if they were able to just totally beat them down like that, then without LeBron James, then what do you think they're going to do to them in the playoffs? So Utah would actually pose, and I said this in the video yesterday, Utah would actually be a more tougher matchup for the Lakers in the first round, and they would hold more of a home court advantage because of the high elevation of where they are in their home court and their ability to hit threes. They are a much better three-point shooting team than that of the Phoenix Suns, and they spread the floor, and they got a lot of players who can go out and get you points. And then, of course, Rudy Gobert is going to match up well in the middle. But that's one thing that if they were to play Utah, where Marc Gasol would come in, because if you just continue, and you saw that in the last game that they played Utah, you could not put Montrezl Harrell in there against Rudy Gobert if Andre Drummond is getting the rest or whatever's going on, because Ayton was a non-factor last night, if you noticed it, because you had Andre Drummond and you had Marc Gasol and you had Anthony Davis playing at a high level. So with Montrezl Harrell in there, you're just going to give up far too much size. And I'm not saying I don't want Montrezl Harrell to be a part of the lineup. Montrezl and LeBron is good when they come together, when LeBron plays with the second unit. It just all depends. And if another team chooses to go small, then so be it. Let Montrezl play small ball and play center. That'll be fine. And that's why we so deep. I just don't want anybody to get into their feelings, because that's when you start messing up team chemistry. So everybody has to realize that everybody is an integral part of winning a championship. And I always said the team stands for together, everybody achieves more. And the look on Andre Drummond's face last night, I won't say that it was telling, but I will say that when Marc Gasol was inserted into the starting lineup to close out the game, and he kept him in there, and Andre Drummond, the way he was looking over on the side, he just kind of looked defeated almost. I mean, you want to cheer on your teammates, but he's still probably looking like, man, I want to be a part of the Lakers. It's been my dream to play with LeBron. You know, now LeBron came back and he got hurt, so he really hadn't had a chance to go out and prove himself just yet. And that's one thing that could be dangerous for the Lakers, knowing that LeBron hasn't had a chance to build chemistry with Andre Drummond just yet. And that's something that they're going to need to develop. But one thing he has had a chance to do, and that's what I keep telling everybody. Everybody forgot that the Lakers was the number 2 seed, nipping on the heels of number 1 before AD went down, and Marc Gasol was the starting center, and the Lakers were just fine. But everybody went into panic mode. Oh, we got to get a center. Oh, Marc Gasol. So Marc Gasol became the scapegoat of the media and the Lakers and everybody else, saying, oh, well, Marc Gasol is trash. He only averaging 4 or 5 points, but not seeing what else that he was bringing to the table. And of course, he's not moving his feet laterally, which, okay, we understand that. But enough about Marc Gasol. Let's move more on to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is back. So if he's scoring the way he was scoring last night, and even diving on the ball for loose balls on the floor, that lets me know that he's no longer really concerned about that injury. That let me know that he's not really concerned about that injury, and that he is really ready to get after it. So when LeBron James comes back, and I know some people in the comments said, hey, I've been saying some crazy things as of late, and I've been saying this and that, and LeBron didn't. I never once said LeBron was 100%. I said he looked all right to me. And when I say look all right, LeBron James all right is better than damn near half of the players in the league 100%. So at the end of the day, as long as LeBron James, just like in the last game, he still can turn around and hit that patent fadeaway, and he can still facilitate and he could still get by players. He wasn't pushing off on the ankle as much as he would like to and getting to the basket, but he was still getting by players and getting to the rim up until the point of where he went out. Because when he went out, I didn't see him do anything in particular that made him say, "Oh shit, I re-aggravated my ankle." Maybe it was just sore from going through the games, the past 2 games. But now that he's got rest on it again and got more rehabilitation for it, I'm just thinking that LeBron James is going to be just fine. And the way the Lakers are playing now, hell, LeBron James might not even need to come back for the Tuesday night matchup against Houston. He might not come back into the last game of the season against New Orleans just for a tune-up game, because if they can win those games without LeBron and rest his ankle even more, then that's going to be even better. And I think that's something that the Lakers might want to look into. But at the end of the day, I think developing the chemistry is just as important. So if they can get LeBron James into these last 3 or 4 games, playing back with Anthony Davis, and give Andre Drummond, LeBron, and AD some reps together, and then figure out a rotation with Marc Gasol and everybody else. And all of this was without Dennis Schroeder, and the Lakers can win some games. They're going to feel very confident, especially when Dennis returns. And hell, you never know. You never know. Portland might drop a couple of those games, like I said. They could easily drop 2 out of those 3 games against Denver, Utah, and Phoenix. They could easily drop 2 out of those 3 games. And if they do, and the Lakers finish out theirs with victories, then it'll be just like I said and just like I predicted. Then the Lakers move up into that 6th spot, and then they play either the Clippers or the Nuggets. But hell, the Lakers might just really enjoy being in that 7th spot. They might not really care about being in that 7th spot. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you think they really worried about Phoenix? Now, if it's Utah, that might be a different story. But it'll be very interesting to see, like I've been saying. So we got this week, last week, to get into some games to see what's going to happen. But if you were smart like me, you would have took the Lakers plus the points, like I said yesterday, and made you a little bit of money. But as always, this is your boy, and I can't emphasize this enough, especially to haters. I cannot emphasize this enough to haters. Right on to the real, and much love to y'all haters.